you watch YouTube recently, there's this trend, I guess, of a format, right? It's like 13 years of brutally honest advice in 90 minutes. 10 years of muscle building in 23 minutes, 10 years of expert cold calling, 31 minutes, right? And then like now it's like spreading to music, 10 years of bass advice, okay, in 10 minutes, 10 years of leadership. And there's, I looked this up, there's like 10 years of like sound design in 10 minutes. And they're all kind of doing well, you know, like the format itself, right? So what's happening here? It's a hot format that's working today, okay? And in the business niche, it's kind of been done to death where everyone's already done it, right? But if you're in the relationship niche, if you're in the music niche, right? Something different. Or maybe if you're in the trading niche, it maybe hasn't been done yet. So even if it's an idea that's already been done, it's already proven to work. But if you're the first one in your niche to do this idea that is already proven to work, the chances of your video getting views is much higher just because the idea is good. You see? So take formats that are working under other industries and use it for your own. Now, here's something I've learned. So one of the oldest videos that I could find about this format is by this random channel that like today it barely gets any views. I guess like 300 views a video, okay? And back 8 years ago, this blew up. So it's Love Lessons, 125 years of marriage advice in 3 minutes, right? So if you go back in time and you try to find the oldest videos on, you know, X advice in X minutes, this is one of the oldest. So is this the original? Perhaps, maybe, you know, on YouTube at least, right? But where did they get this idea? Who knows? They probably got it from somewhere else, right? Maybe they got it from a book or something on another platform, right? We don't know. And it doesn't matter. So basically what I think happened is somebody here, okay, I mean, you just look at the dates of when they put out the video. They probably saw this video and they were like, okay, pretty sick video. Let's just take that idea and instead of talking about love, let's talk about business. Let's talk about fitness. Let's talk about muscles, whatever it was. Then when it started trending in one category or industry, everyone else was like, oh, that's a pretty sick idea. Let me take that and put it in my niche. You get what I'm saying? So when you're looking for ideas, it's not just, hey, like what's everyone else doing and let me just copy them. Because if you're copying everyone and you're doing the exact same thing, your thumbnail looks the same, you're just a copycat, right? But if you're taking an idea in a niche that like it's not really related to you, but the idea is good and you see it works in multiple niches and you're the first one, higher chance of it working, right? And I like to use this diagram here that kind of describes like how adoption curves go. So you got like innovators, people that are on the ground floor, they're testing the newest stuff. These would be like the first people who've bought Bitcoin, you know? Early adopters, these are people that kind of see what they're doing and they're like, you know what? That's pretty cool. Let me try that out, right? These are the tastemakers, you know? Then you have like early majority, late majority. These guys are when like everyone's starting to catch on. Laggards are, you know, people who are late. So an idea like this, right? 13 years of brutally honest business advice in 90 minutes. Okay, so it's been done a year ago. Alex Hormozi already did it. He's like the biggest business creator. That means if you look, there's probably like 100 other business creators that made this video. So if I were to make this video today, I would know like I'm here. I'm late. So when I put it out, no one's going to really watch it because they've already seen it a million times, right? It's not that innovative. It's not that new. I would have to have some kind of different spin. Now, if you're in a random niche like playing bass guitar and no one else has done it, even though from the like in the business niche it's here, but in the guitar bass niche you're like here. You're basically an early adopter, right? So your video is going to get a bunch more views because you're the first person to do it in your niche. You see? So you always want to like look at this before you make a video and ask yourself, where do you land? And typically I would recommend being here. More because you can see what people are doing, they're experimenting, and when something pops, like they have an outlier video, then you steal it and then you do it first. You know, so speed is the name of the game, right? Because if you're catching every trend, kind of like how Drake is catching like every trend here, you're going to be relevant forever. The problem that most people have is like they do one thing and then the trends change, they don't adapt, and then that thing doesn't work anymore and they don't know what to do. So they just end up kind of like disappearing, right? So that's why it's important to kind of know what's going on and having that pulse on the market. Is that making sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's do a quick check-in. So based on what I'm saying so far, like what's been the most, I guess, like insightful thing that you've learned so far? Anybody can like unmute and just like jump in, you know?
I mean, this whole thing was pretty insightful, being the first to in your niche, being based on. Sorry, I lost my.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, being the first in your niche versus the market trend in some other niche, that's huge.
Mm-hmm. All right, anybody else?
Yeah. So we always discuss, we copy contents basically
Yeah.
on social media. But I noticed that, the trend is so fast. Everything changes. So you gotta keep up with news and the trendy contents.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Anything else to add or? Good? Okay.
Good.
So now I want to go through. Okay, so now let me kind of give you an example of like, let's say I was a content creator on Alex Hormozi's team, right? And my job is to find ideas and pitch it to the team and be like, hey, we should do this. So if that was my job and I was looking at Patrick Dang's channel, right? Here's the mindset I would approach this process with, okay? So first we had vidIQ to show me the outliers, right? So what are the videos that are getting more views than the normal videos? So we see the latest video here, it's kind of blowing up. 6.1 more than my usual views, and it's continuing to going up. The view velocity looks really good. So like how many views is it getting, let's say like per day? And okay, so if I'm Alex Hormozi's, team member, I would look at this and be like, okay, so why does this work? Like what's going on here? Then I would think, okay, so first title. This thing is like, okay, like all these side hustles that are basically everyone's pushing this on social media. Like you should do drop shipping, you should do whatever, right? Amazon FBA. And Patrick is here, he's saying like 2 weeks notice, like someone's quitting their job. So I'm like, okay, don't start a side hustle, do this instead to escape the 9 to 5. So immediately the story is basically there's a lot of people online who are 9 to 5 employees. They want to start a business, okay, but they don't know how. So when they go on YouTube, they're going to look at all these things. And Patrick, for some reason, he's basically shitting on everybody and saying like, hey, don't do these because you're not going to make as much money. Do this instead. But I never said what this is. You see what I mean? It's like, do this instead. Okay, like what's my secret method to making so much money and it's better than all of these things? So anyone who is in the side hustle mentality, it gets them to click. And by the way, this has a pretty high click-through rate relative to my other videos as well. So it does work in getting the click, right? So I created an open loop. Okay, that's a key thing you guys got to understand. You don't give the solution to what your video is about in the title and thumbnail all the time. You want to just, for me, I like to agitate problems and then tease the idea that I have some kind of solution, but the only way you're going to know the answer is if you click. Okay, like if I said, don't start a side hustle, here's why high ticket closing is going to be the best. It's like, okay, then it's a whole video about high ticket closing, right? But this is meant to be more top of funnel kind of content to get broad people in my video. And then I basically sell them the idea that, hey, you should build a personal brand. You should, sell something high ticket, or you should like monetize your personal brand essentially, right? So I'm selling, that's essentially what the video is about. So if I'm Alex Hormozi, my audience is more business people, right? So I can say like, don't whatever common misconception in business, do this instead. Like that already works, right? Or if I'm promoting, like he's a co-owner in the company school, which is the platform we actually use to host the courses on. If he was trying to promote this in a video, he can also do that too. Like, don't start these side hustles, do this instead. And then his answer to it is start a school community. Like, same idea, right? So the whole point is you want to make every other opportunity look bad compared to whatever it is you're selling. The reality is there's no bad or good opportunity. It's just dependent on the person's skill set and what they're interested in. Like, there are a lot of people making money on Shopify. There's a lot of people making money with personal brands. Like, who's right, who's wrong? It doesn't matter. It's who's the most convincing to get the person to, to get them to do what you want them to do, which is essentially like become a client, right? So that's how you want to think about it. You want to take an idea, reverse engineer, and really understand step by step, like the title, the thumbnail, the idea itself, break it down into those variables, and then remix it for whatever it is you're selling, right? So if I'm in relationships, niche, right? Don't do Bumble or something, right? Don't swipe on Tinder. Do this instead. Okay. It's like, okay, like what's this special method to finding love, right? Or if you're a trader and like everyone's doing a certain kind of trade that's really trendy, I guess depends on the strategy, right? Like if let's say everyone uses too much leverage and they end up with like $0, they lose the money, they get liquidated, don't leverage trade, do this instead, right? If you're trying to make like fast money or whatever. I mean, like there's infinite ways to spin it, but you get what I'm saying? Understanding so far?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So what's been insightful about like kind of me sharing that breakdown? Any like gold nuggets you guys catching?
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So I always put maybe too much on title, and I didn't agitate or yeah. So maybe I can just tease them like audience in a way that I make them wanna they wanna click the video.
Yeah, because like when you're coming up with title ideas, are you getting it from other videos or are you coming up with it with yourself?
Yeah, right now I think 70% of the time it comes from other videos.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like you understand why the other videos worked?
I think I'm not getting that fully.
Right.
I look at titles and stuff, but yeah, I didn't have a good views yet.
Yeah.
Just why copying?
Yeah. So this is the common mistake that a lot of people make. Okay. I thought about this quite a lot over the weekend. So originally, I would teach you guys like, hey, just like copy stuff, right? Now what I've realized that an additional thing I have to add to this is you have to understand why it works. Okay. Like if you just like look at popular channels and you just like, oh, like it worked for them, so I'm just going to do it. It's not going to work. It may work, but if you get lucky, but it probably won't because you don't understand the why behind it. Right. So when you copy, you have to like really break it down and think, why is this title so appealing? What's going through the minds of someone that is interested in this? Why are they clicking it? And that's how you start to understand it. Then you can reverse engineer properly. Otherwise, you're just going to copy. And then when you get a low click-through rate, you're not going to understand why it's so low. The only thing you'll think is like, oh, like it worked for the other guy. How come my click-through rate's like 2%? And then you just go on and make it to the next video and you don't get better, right? But you always need to understand the why behind it, okay? And the simplest way to really understand it is kind of like what I'm showing you, right? It's like, first, where are you on the adoption curve? That's first of all. If you're here, yeah, that's why it's not working, right? But if you found like imagine this, you found a good idea, it worked in one niche, you're bringing it to your niche, you're the first person to do it. Like that's checking a lot of boxes to say like, hey, this has a high chance of hitting. You know what I mean? But if you don't have any mental checklists of like what you're looking for, then you shouldn't be surprised when a video doesn't do that good. You know what I mean? But if you have a mental checklist, you check all the boxes and you do it and you execute, everything looks good, and it fails, then you can start like trying to figure out like why did it fail, right? Because you did everything right. But I think most people, they just don't think about this too much, you know? And that's okay in the beginning, but in order for you to get better, I'll tell you this, like pretty much every YouTuber, like they may not use the same framework I do, but they definitely think about it in that way. Whether they're late or early, where they got the idea, how they remix the idea. Everyone thinks of it like that. Okay? Make sense? Cool.
One thing I'm glad that you mentioned was just really quickly about the vidIQ and how, I mean, just like a small little bit about how you use it. Because when you were talking about your last point, finding that video of the relationships, the 125 years plus or whatever, I was just in my head, I was like, oh, somebody definitely has a team doing that for them. And then you mentioned how you use vidIQ, finding stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think that's really important too.
I'm pretty sure most teams, they just use vidIQ, or there's another one called 1 of 10. Same idea. They're just looking for the ones that get the most views in a short period of time, that are most like the recent to the channel, right? So I always do that too. I'll look at a channel, look at their, last month's videos, and I just see like which one popped off recently. And if I steal the idea, am I late or am I early? Like I'll steal a thumbnail from one guy here, then I'll steal an idea from another guy and I'll put it together. And then I'll A/B test. Like sometimes I'll take one video, I'll get the thumbnail. Okay, so let's call it thumbnail, title, idea, right? I'll just like steal it and I'll just remix it for my niche, right? And then I'll take another guy's, oh, it doesn't work. Okay, thumbnail from a whole other unrelated video, right? And so I'll take this idea and then I'll A/B test thumbnail number, that's thumbnail number 1 and then thumbnail number 2, right? So I know the idea is good. I know I'm early, thumbnail, title, idea, worked for the other guy, did it for my niche, should be good. Then I'm like, okay, but can I improve on the thumbnail? So I'll take another thumbnail from another person and then I'll kind of like apply it to this idea and then I'll A/B test those two. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't just like come up with random stuff. Like if I come up with a new thumbnail, I'm trying to innovate on top of what someone did. I'm going to innovate by taking another person's thumbnail and remixing it. You know what I mean? Like I don't come up with anything original, to be honest, right? I always have a base. And I always tell my team this, like whenever they present me a bad idea, whether it's a bad color grade on the video or the thumbnail doesn't look good or whatever, the first thing I ask them is, what's your reference? Where did you get this from? And every time it doesn't look good, I already know the answer. It's, oh, I just did it myself. And then I'm just like, okay, no offense, right? But like, you just don't have the taste to like, just do it yourself. So what's going to be easier for everybody is if you found something, an example that's good, and try to get close to that. And even if you tried your best, it's never going to be the same anyways, but at least we have a base level of, the standard that we're shooting for, right? So the better your references, the better your content's going to be. If you're only looking at bad content, or you don't know what's good or bad, or you're just trying to figure it out by yourself and just freestyling the whole thing, the chance of success is not that high. It's not impossible, but like you gotta be like top 1% gifted, like you just know it, right? And for including myself, like I can't do that. That's why I'm much better at remixing.